And then how do they get the grounds clear outside the Capitol? What do they do? That's the question, George.
Thank you, Pierre. Martha Raddatz, what are you hearing from your sources in the military?
I don't think it's tear gas. I think it's
George, I have not talked to military in the last little while, but what I want to tell you is right now there's some sort of gas coming over there. Again, we're on the north side of the Capitol. This whole group is by the security area, and they are shouting, "Let us in, let us in, let us in." I have been to Trump rallies before. I have been threatened before in places. This seems very real. This is out of control here. There's no law enforcement in this area, and there are truly thousands of people here who are not leaving. I think let's go back to the military there again, George. I'm sure at some point the military is going to come and help out in this situation, or the D.C. Guard or somebody, because this entire plaza is filled with Trump supporters. And I'm not sure if Trump tweeted right now, "Go home," that they would go home. They are saying over and over again, this is our house. This is our house, and we have a right to go in there. And this is far from over. We are seeing either Capitol Police or DHS with riot shields up there right now. We don't know whether it was tear gas. There was a crowd saying it was tear gas and coming towards us, and that's why we backed up. But they're now again shouting USA, 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 still trying to get into that building. The one thing that is very clear is Washington, D.C. was not prepared for this in any way. The lack of law enforcement, I mean, I'm sure law enforcement is getting together to try and figure out how to clear this, but they were not prepared for anything like this. This is a dangerous situation, and it's not going to abate very soon.
It doesn't appear that it will. And Tom Llamas, we're just learning that we have confirmed that an explosive device was discovered at the Republican National Committee.
Yeah, our investigative producers, both Jack Dotte and John Santucci, making calls on this. They have confirmed that there was a suspicious package at the RNC. They understand it to be a pipe bomb. It has since been detonated so far. Nobody was hurt in that. But it speaks to the severity and the level of security right now that we're dealing with on this day. And as Martha has said, it's chilling, George, that this was able to happen. We're going on 2-3 hours now, and you know, these were MAGA supporters of the president. Imagine if this group had intentions to do something even worse in Capitol Hill. Clearly, they were not ready for this.
No, it appears that they were not. Okay, Tom, thanks very much. I want to go back to Cecilia Vega. Cecilia, we were just talking to Chris Christie moments ago. He said he tried to get through to the president. His call did not go through. What more are we hearing from inside the White House? Is there anyone the president will listen to at this point?
Inside and outside the White House, George. So I'm talking to sources who are close to the president. It's not just Chris Christie who can't get through. We're talking about people who are normally in the president's inner circle, people who are close to the president inside the White House and out, who cannot get through the president. And I will tell you, the source is describing this to me as real concern right now among those who are close to President Trump about how to get through to him, how to get this message to him. There is consensus among this group of people close to the president that they strongly believe that he needs to get on television. He needs to get on television soon. They are trying to get this message to him, but that he is not taking these phone calls. They want him to, with his own voice, not over Twitter, call on these protesters to leave and to leave immediately and to condemn what it is that they are seeing right now. There's talk about calling on the cabinet. Where is the cabinet, people are saying at this point, and whether or not they need to be getting involved in this. We are hearing also from our John Santucci and Catherine Falders, who are reporting that, and I want to give you a little bit more color on what people inside the White House are saying, that people are pushing the president to do more and condemn this violence, that some staffers avoided going to work today because they were so nervous about what would happen, and that the president has been in such a rage for so many days that they didn't want to be anywhere near him. And now some sources are telling our team that they're talking about potential resignations as a result of what they're seeing take place in our city today and in our government today, because they're frankly so disgusted by what they're what they're seeing on television. But George, you know, but it is important to convey this sense of concern. You know, Donald Trump, as we've been talking about, is someone who has kept a circle people, and he keeps a team of advisors around him and people that he leans on to make decisions, and that people who can't get through to him right now to convey this message to him that he is the one who can stop this, that he is the one who instigated this, and he is the one who can stop this, that the concern is growing in the top levels of the administration and in this inner circle of Donald Trump's, that they're not able to get this message to him.
Thank you, Cecilia. Tara Moran, I want to circle back to something we were discussing before in a bit of a different context with the appointment of Merrick Garland. But I want to get to the broader question of accountability. You've heard in the last several days, particularly after that phone call where the president was asking the Secretary of State of Georgia to basically change the votes in that state. What could be done for accountability? Should the House consider, it's not practical at this point, should the House consider impeaching in 40 days? But what is the proper forum for accountability after seeing a situation unfold like this?
Well, that's a very important question, George. For the Congress and for the American people, look, there are 330 million of us. These people do not represent the country, but they can make a mess, and they do represent a constituency that could be inspired and encouraged by what they're seeing. And so a response is undoubtedly necessary. The problem is we have a tradition in law, confirmed, frankly, under the presidency of Donald Trump, that the president is kind of beyond the law. We like to say no president is above the law, no man or woman is above the law. But look at the history. Nixon got away with it. Trump, the impeachment failed. And here, if you raised impeachment, which you could even in the final days, because impeachment and removal from office can also carry the penalty of disqualification from ever holding public office, honor, or trust again under the United States. And so that is a possibility if the Congress wants to hold Donald Trump responsible for it, which he clearly is. The problem is that the presidency has really risen to such a place of power and insulation from those kinds of restraints, unlike in other countries, that Donald Trump really took advantage of it throughout his presidency, on that call to Georgia, on the call to the president of Ukraine, on the calling of people out into the streets in front of the Capitol today. And why isn't he saying anything now? Why isn't he calling on them to leave the Capitol grounds and let the Congress do its business, as Chris Christie said? Because I think he thinks there might be an opportunity here. I think that's the way he operates. And he sees, maybe this is the way.
What we're seeing now, thank you, Terry, what we're seeing now are those armed police on the steps of the Capitol facing off against the protesters. John Karl, Terry Moran used the word insulated right there. And it does appear that, every president of the United States ends up being in something of a bubble. It's hard to escape when you're surrounded by Secret Service, surrounded by acolytes and aides for 4 years. In this case, it's even more profound. Many wonder, does the president even believe what he's saying? Does he know the difference between true and false?
George, I was just on the phone with the president's former chief of staff, John Kelly, so I didn't fully hear your question, but he was reacting in horror to what he had seen. He told me this is as un-American as anything I have seen. And he also said this is what happens when you take the attitude of let's just let Trump be Trump, a criticism of those currently around the president, including his current chief of staff, Mark Meadows.